So first of all, I do have notes tonight because I don't know if most of you know that occasionally I can go off on tangents. So I figured the easiest thing for me to do would to have some notes on stats. And these are Florida stats, Winter Haven, Lakeland, and Sebring stats because we are Lake Wales, we're small, and they are stats from February because that is the latest data. These things don't happen as much as we think in the modern world that I should be able to pull up March's stats. I tried, and it just says not available. And there were some stats that I wanted, and it made me sign into a members locale. And I'm like, I don't know my sign in. Because, to be quite honest, Michelle and Trey Real Estate, the reason Michelle is first is because Michelle actually does the real estate. She's a broker. She does every contract. She does every listing. She does the minutia of what we actually call work. I am Fun Trey. I go to showings. I go to the community events. I do things that, but I also do like the stat part of it, which she hates. She also doesn't like the public persona. She would rather grind out a contract in an office till 10 o'clock at night, which annoys me because I want to sit down on the couch and cuddle and talk about the day, and she's dealing with contracts. And sometimes on Sundays when it's really quiet and peaceful, all of a sudden we're showing 30 acres of grove land. And it's like, can't we do that on Monday? But the industry, as we talked about, the industry doesn't have time frames right now. We see everything happening, and I'm going to talk about that at the end, but I'm going to hit everybody with a few stats just because I want everybody to understand that, yes, we went through a period of craziness. We're kind of, for some people, going through a period of craziness, but it's a different type of craziness. So Florida stats for February 2023, there were 18,627 real estate transactions for single homes in February. That's down 21.3% from last year.
Ooh, wow.
As crazy as that sounds, we're down. The median price of those transactions was $395,000. We're talking about, yes, that's Miami and Jacksonville and Tampa, but that's also Pahokee, Lake Alfred, Lake Wales, Frostproof. Those median prices, guess what? They're up 3.5%. Because what does real estate do? It appreciates most of the time. Yes, in 2008, and that's the difference between the 2007-2008 crash, where prices dropped, the bottom fell out. The bottom's not falling out because of what's happening, because there were new rules that were put in place for lending practices and blah, 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 that have, you can go get your loan, but these are the rules that you're going to follow. So the prices are still continuing to rise, even though we're selling less. The volume of that real estate that sold in February, $10.3 billion. By the way, that was down 20%. So we're in Florida. Remember, almost 6,000 people are moving to Florida every single day.
Wow, that's nuts.
So they have to go somewhere. The sold prices right now, everybody wants to know, I'm going to list for this. And then we have to come tell them, okay, here's the deal. It's going to sell for this price. Has anybody ever been in you've been in mediation. How many times do you know, because I was in car insurance, and I got to the point that I would sit in mediations. And I knew 97% of the time how much the check was I was going to write before I walked into the mediation.
Why is that?
You just know, the firm you're working with, you know the actual injuries, you know if you have to pull out your data and they have to pull out their data. If my account was $10,000 and they wanted $150, and we went, I'll give you a 7, they give you a 6, I'll give you 3.5, and they're like, okay, we'll take it. You know, it's called mediation for a reason. We all know what we're getting into. I need to make enough to protect my client and also get me a little cash to pay for the JAG. And then I also have to save enough money to take back to insurance company X and say, look what we did. We saved $6,500. So guess what? In real estate, it's the same way. You can list your house, and we tell people all the time, because people are like, I want $485,000. And we tell them, cool, we'll list it. We'll list it. Here's what's going to happen. Unless someone comes with a cash offer, they don't want inspections, they don't want this, they don't want that, blah, 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 it'll sell. If they want inspections, or they have to have financing, or they have to have X, Y, Z, P, D, Q, guess what? It's going to sell for this price. Well, let's try. Okay, cool, let's try. We'll try. An offer comes in. They don't understand. I'm saying, remember, your real estate is personal to you. Their real estate is a business transaction. Michelle and Trey, our job is to get the most for you, ethically, honestly, and kind of business sense wise, and to work the best deal for customer A, B, or C here as well. But for us, it's also a business transaction. Personally, your house to you may be worth $485,000, but in today's market, it's worth $375,000. And you have to understand, well, I put in this tree, I put in this shrub, look what we did here, look what we did there. There are things that make you money in a house, and there are things that just make you feel good. And as a home seller, you have to learn, hey, you know what? My wife really likes this tile. It doesn't fit the modern thing, but my wife really likes this tile. And by the way, can anybody tell me the least effective thing to improve the price of your home? Put in a pool. Put in a pool. Oh, we're going to put in a pool. Fantastic. Are you going to enjoy the pool? Yes, put in the pool. If you think you're going to increase your house value, please do not put in the pool. Fix your kitchen, modernize your paint, modernize your floors. Please do not put in a pool. But my husband, he has worked for years on making these shrubs and these trees. Look at how beautiful these trees are.
Is he going to keep doing that? What did he? At that house?
This happens a lot when homeowners decide they want to become landlords. Because Michelle and I do both. We do retail sales and we also do property management. And we love it when a homeowner says, well, they're going to love the shrubbery. They're going to have to take care of the shrubbery. Well, they're going to love it. They're not going to take care of it. But they're going to love it. You go there 6 months later, weeds are coming out of the rocks, the bushes are 7 feet tall, and you're like, can we include lawn care? So, I have notes and I digress. No one said, Siobhan, stop me. So, the sold was $10.3 billion. The asking price, whatever the asking price was, it was selling at 95.3% of that asking price. Currently in Polk County, I was able to kind of dig in a little bit further and find those. Right now in Polk County, it's 95 to 98%. A lot of that depends on how good the asking price is before the first offer comes in. We have comps. We're able to look at property and say, this neighborhood, this house, this design, modern, antiquated, blah, 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 it's going to sell for this. We'll offer, but we kind of know this is what it's going to sell for. So if you are legitimate in your list price, not emotional, legitimate, and make it a business transaction, you're going to get about 95% of ask. So if you have a number that you need to get to, and we can squeeze out that extra 4.7%, guess what? You're going to end up at that 95.3%, which is where you need to be. But we also, remember, it's not us, the appraiser, the bank, the people that are going to buy it. Because for them, remember, it's a financial decision for them. Can they afford it? It becomes emotional when they sign the contract. But they have to know they can afford it first. Also, rule number 7,562 in sales. Nobody stays in budget. I only have $250,000 I can spend. Do you know how many $300,000 houses I've sold to people that only have $250,000 to spend? It doesn't happen. Your last car. Think of the last car you went and purchased, and they're like, you can get this protection plan. It only adds, and you're like, okay, I'll do it. You just went over your budget. It's okay. It's okay. I hate it too. I'm one of those. I have 3 of those over budget things. Medium time into contract. Go ahead, John. You're fine.
I was just going to say, if you come any closer than that, your head gets chopped off.
Okay, I'll stay back here. Thank you. Median time into contract is 43 days. Here's the number that's going to blow you away. It seems like, wow, it takes that long to get into the contract. That's 258% higher than it was at the same month last year.
Wow.
Stuff was getting listed and sold in 6 hours last year.
Yeah, I heard about
It was nuts. So now this number's high in statistical terms. This number's normal.
Mm-hmm.
This is the norm. When we have these amazing cycles, they're not the norm. They're amazing cycles. Median time to sell. So the contract's one thing, getting it to sell, getting it to close. You get the keys, they don't have the keys anymore. That's now 86 days.
Wow.
We try our darndest, I didn't say that word. We try our darndest to do something within 30 to 60 days. We aim for 45. That's what we aim for. But a lot of that is the lender. There are so many hoops to jump through on the lending side. If you're a cash buyer, we got you. But if you are you're a conventional buyer, I need a mortgage, your FHA, your VA, your USDA, you're a conventional loan. Any of those types, guess what? There are going to be hoops that have to be jumped across. Appraisals are taking forever because the market in this area is booming. It's still booming. Even though these numbers are negative, they're booming. It's booming. So, month supply of houses is kind of how we decide if the market's good or bad. Currently, the houses that are for sale in Florida, there is a 2.7 month inventory. That means if you put your house on the market today, it will not sell for 2.7 months. That's how we measure inventory. If it sells in less than 2 months, less than a month, then all of a sudden we're like, okay, it's now a seller's market. Right now we're kind of transitioning to, if you bring me a good offer, we might be able to work a deal. So the Lakeland Winter Haven area, I was able to dive in. Lakeland Winter Haven closed last month 979 homes. Sebring, and the reason I did Sebring, because it's kind of the two that are in between us. Sebring closed 112 units last month. For Lakeland and Winter Haven, that's down 13.3%. For Sebring, that was down 20%. So this little pocket that we're in the negative, but all of us have driven around and see what's going on. Also in Lakeland and Winter Haven, the median price, this is close to us, so this is going to make us feel like where we are price-wise. $329,500. $329,500 is kind of the median price happening in our area. In Sebring, it was $250. So that just driving 20 miles that way, the ruralness, is that a real word?
Yes.
Ruralness
Yeah.
from up to here. You're talking almost $75,000 price difference in a house down there and a house up here. Not one of the metro areas, I went back and I looked at all the data for Florida. Every metro area that I could pull off of Florida, there's Miami, there's St. Augustine, there's Jacksonville, all of the major, Ocala, the Villages is its own metro area. By the way, the Villages is one of the largest growing cities created out of poof. Like, it was created by nothing. Every single metropolitan area is negative in its numbers. Houses, single family homes, condominiums. We're negative on all major data because money's tight. So that's led me to the second part to end this up. Some other random stats. I pulled off the latest as of 3:30 today. Every major lending rate, 30-year fixed, 15-year fixed, floating, jumbo, everything was under 6% as of today. And everybody's like, money's expensive, money's expensive, money's expensive. Yes, it is when we think about we could get it for 2.5. I mean, I had friends that were refinancing because they were making money refinancing their house. They were pulling cash out, investing that cash, and they were making money. If we really sit back and think, we're still, in the grand scheme of things, we are still better off than we were. The whole picture, money is still cheaper than it was at its highest point. And guess what? If you have to buy a house, you have to buy a house. That when the market tanked in 2007, 2008, my mother-in-law and father-in-law had one of their best years. Because guess what happened? People had to sell their homes and people had to buy homes. They sold the same amount of homes in 2007, 2008 as they did in 2005 and 2006. And they are very successful realtors. Their numbers, their dollar amounts were somewhat different because the prices were exaggerated 2005, 2006. 2007, 2008, those prices started leveling off. Their volume of sales was exactly the same. Because if you have to have a house, you got to have a house. Yeah. You have two options. You can buy a house or you can rent a house. Guess what? Michelle and I don't care. We do both. I will hook you up however we can. But guess what? Has anybody checked out rental cost lately?
Yeah.
Yes, we can all be, oh my God, it's expensive. We have a rental right now and someone brought to point to us, in order to move into that rental at the best dollar value that you can have, you have a great security, you have a great credit score, you blah, blah, blah. It's going to cost them a minimum to move into a rental house, $3,900. That's a lot of cash to bring to a rental that a year from now, you may just go, all right, we're out. Or the owner may go, I've decided to sell. So think about that. And also I understand, my wife and I were talking because I wanted to talk about some like actual points. Because we don't care. We really don't care. I don't care if you buy or rent. I really don't. And I joke about it, but I really don't. People are like, home ownership, that's the thing of what. Well, guess what? There's a lot of crap that goes along with home ownership. It's not this bed of roses like, oh, great, I got this house, cool. Yeah, insurance has gone up. You got to pay for a roof. Well, if I rent, I don't have to pay for anything. I pay my electric bill and my water bill, and dude, you better fix my air conditioner. So when you are renting, you got that big outlay. That cost of money, I know everything's more expensive, but think about if you could save that amount of money to rent a house. What would happen if you waited a couple more months and you could save that to put down as your down payment? Because, and I only say this, and I'm not a mortgage guy, there are so many programs right now. You're actually a mortgage lady, so I wouldn't raise your hand unless you're going that direction. So there are so many ways to get a house now. USDA. Maybe you don't get your dream house, but guess what? You don't deserve your dream house on your first house. It's your first house. Can you get into a home that will work for you? USDA, FHA, there are first-time buyer programs. There are ways that if you have the cash, you can lower your mortgage. So if you're 6%, you can buy that APR down. That's dyslexia kicks in. APR down, and you can get a lower mortgage rate. There are so many tools.
And your credit makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
The difference on credit rate, as you're saying, is credit rate makes a huge difference too. The difference between someone at 600 and 750 in rate makes a difference too. Fix your credit.
Yeah, so there's so many options that are available that maybe we all see how expensive it is to rent.
Yeah.
But it's also expensive to buy a home. But guess what? You are gonna have an asset. We have to get over that part that it's something that's gonna make us money. It's an asset. It is an asset we have, but renting is very carefree. So as I joke around all the time, I tell people, I don't care if you rent or buy, it doesn't matter. My mom owns a home, but she also rents.
Yeah.
Because she decided she did not want to have to take care of some of the stuff that a homeowner has to take care of. So she rents her house out to other people that take care of it. So, last thing is, I'll close on this. How many new developments are happening in our areas? Anybody have an answer?
A lot.
That is the exact answer I was going to give. I was hoping someone would say, I don't know how many, and I was going to say, I don't know, a lot. So thank you.
10 to 15,000.
Some people will say too many, but
And guess what? As a citizen, I agree. I am a native Polk Countyan. I grew up here. I grew up with citrus trees. I was the one that grew up going down Highway 27 to Claremont and seeing trees on both sides and so on. And watching that, well, guess what's happening in Polk County? But guess what? We also can't stop
We're
growth.
also the fastest growing county in the state, 7th in the nation.
So we can't stop it. Everybody wants to get mad at us. I only sell what they build. And I'm going to close with this. Michelle and I always joke around. I give props on my social feeds and to all the other agents in our area. And it's rare because I don't care. There are some very, very good agents. There's 3 of them that are in downtown Lake Wells. One of them is freaking a giant when it comes to this area. She's very good. Very good. I don't care who you use. Michelle would love for you to use us, but she also understands where I come from this. Stop clicking on things when you're searching on the internet. If you like an agent in this area, I don't care if it's Luis Hernandez, Aaron Floyd, Josh Kirchie, I don't give a damn who it is. If it's Michelle and I, fantastic. Stop clicking on buttons. If you like an agent locally, pick up the phone. Hey, I was looking on Zillow. Because, drive around. How many real estate signs do you see that are from Orlando or Tampa or Miami? And guess why that happens? Because the public, and I mean this nicely, you don't know any better and you're too lazy to pick up the phone and call the agent that you actually like. You have a hairdresser. You don't Google, let me click this button and go get your haircut in the Villages. You get your haircut in Lake Wells. I don't care if you use me. And I'm saying this wholeheartedly with a smile on my face. I don't care. If you like Aaron Floyd or Josh Kirchie or whoever your agent of choice is, pick up the phone. Do not click the button, because you know what's going to happen? You're not going to get them. They may have it listed, but we all understand algorithms. Guess what? People pay for those algorithms. And an agent out of Kissimmee is going to be the one that shows you that house or lists your house. And you're like, but I really like Josh. Then pick up the phone and call Josh. Or text Josh. Or go to Josh's Facebook page. Do anything, I beg you. That's the only thing I can tell you tonight. I beg you, stop clicking buttons when you're on Zillow. Or whatever your thing of choice is. I really don't want to do real estate. I love the business, but I don't want to go sell people houses. I want to stop our local people from using non-local agents.
Mm-hmm.
If they're crappy agents, let's get rid of them.
Yeah.
But if there are 6, 10, 15, 3 of us that are good,
Right.
then let us grow the city
Yeah.
and stop giving it to Orlando, Miami, Tampa. Michelle and I are very careful. We have a really good friend. We're selling a house right now in Lakeland. It sits on 5 acres. By the way, if you need 5 acres of beautiful property, by the Lakeland Airport, we have it. It is gorgeous. Oak hammocks everywhere on this 5 acres. It's gorgeous. We don't normally list those types of properties because it's in Lakeland. But these people, we've been to their house so many times because they trained 2 of our dogs.
Mm.
I know that property inside and out. That's why we're listing it. We don't go to places we don't know. A lot of agents, they don't care. Okay, cool. We've had an agent from Miami. We sold a house. They didn't know where the house was. Oh, they called me, so I listed it. They didn't know where the house was. So just do me a favor. Don't click buttons. Call. And if you don't want to use me, but you don't know Josh's number, call me and I'll give it to you. I'm serious. Thank you, everybody.